QCA 3 retest review. Just a quick reminder, remember that these 10 questions are going to have almost identical problems on the actual retake. So if you have a question about any of these, ask it before you take the retake, right? Make sure you can do all these problems independently before you attempt the retake. All right, problem number 1, identify the slope of the line represented by the equation 4x plus 2y equals 12. All right, well, we know that when we want to find the slope, it's the number with x, but first we need to get y equals. So we take the 4x plus 2y equals 12, and we need to get y by itself. So save whatever's with y for last, so that means we're dealing with 4x first. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides, right? So now I've got 2y equals 12 minus 4x. Now, I cannot combine these because they're not like terms, so leave them separated. Now I got to get rid of the 2. Well, it's multiplying the y, so to get rid of it, we divide, and we're going to divide everything by 2. So we have y equals 12 divided by 2 is 6 minus 4 divided by 2 is 2x. So my slope is negative 2, right? Because we know that slope is the number with x. Problem 2. The length of the rectangle is x minus 1, and the width is 2x plus 8. Find the perimeter of the rectangle. Show your work and write your answer in simplified form. Well, there's a lot of ways we could do this. I think probably the way that always works is just to actually write this thing out, right? If this is my length and my width, well, perimeter means I add up all 4 sides. So let's go ahead and let's label these other sides here, right? And now I have all my sides and I just have to add them up. So I'm going to make a really long statement here. I got 2x plus 8 plus x minus 1 plus 2x plus 8 plus x minus 1. And we've got 2x, x here, and an x here. So that would be, let's see, 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6. So we've got 6x, and then 8 minus 1 is 7, plus another 8 is 15, minus 1 is 14. All right, so positive 14. So this is my expression for my perimeter. Now some of you might want to do this a different way. If you feel comfortable, you can just plug in the width and the length to this formula, and it will give you the same answer. All right, write an equivalent expression in simplified form for all that good stuff. Guys, all we're doing here is distribution. All right, we're just going to distribute and make sure that our answer is in simplest form. It's a lot of 2's. All right, so first we're going to start here. 2 times 4x we know is 8x, and 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. So we're done with that first group. Now this group is getting multiplied by negative 2. So negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x, and negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4. This is probably the most commonly made mistake, is to mess up that sign right there. So pay attention to the signs. Finally, you're not done until you combine like terms, and we've got 8x minus 4x, which is 4x, and then we've got negative 10 plus 4, which is negative 6. So my expression is 4x minus 6. Problem 4. Consider the inequality 2x minus 8y is greater than 25. Is the ordered pair 1, negative 3 a solution? A solution means it makes it a true statement. All right, because inequalities are statements. So let's say here we got 2x minus 8y is greater than 25. Well, x is supposed to be 1 and y is supposed to be negative 3. Now, let's color code this to see if it helps a little bit. So I'm going to leave parentheses for x, and I'm going to leave parentheses for y, and I'm going to plug in these numbers that I've been given. So for x, I'm going to put in a 1, and then for y, I'm going to put in a negative 3. And then all I do is I just kind of see what I get. So 2 times 1 is 2. Negative 8 times negative 3 is positive 24. And this says greater than 25. So on the left, I've got 26, right? 2 plus 24 is 26 is greater than 25. Is 26 greater than 25? Yes, right? That's yes. All right, because true statements. If I had gotten a false statement, for instance, 20 is greater than 25, which we know that's not true, that would have been no. Problem 5. What is the solution to the following system of equations? Write your answer as an ordered pair. All right, well, we've got two equations here, and I've got my x's lined up, my y's lined up, everything's lined up, which means that the method for this is most easily going to be elimination. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add these equations together, and I've got 5x. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0, so those cancel, right? Those eliminate, which is what I wanted. And this is equal to negative 1 plus 26, which is 25. All right, so to find x, all I got to do is get rid of this 5. I'm going to divide it out, and I've got x is equal to 5. So that's half of my answer, right? X is 5. I've still got to find y. And you can find y by plugging in the x to either equation that you started with. It really doesn't matter where you do. So I'm going to put plug in. All right, plug this in. And I'm just going to do the top equation. So I've got x minus 3y is equal to negative 1. Okay, well, x we just figured out was 5. So we've got 5 minus 3y is equal to negative 1. So if I'm solving for y, that means I got to get rid of the 5 first. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides of my equation. Right, I'm actually solving here now. And that's going to leave me with negative 3y is equal to negative 6. So finally, I got to get rid of this negative 3. I'm going to use division. And I've got y is equal to positive 2. Y is equal to positive 2. So my solution is 5, 2. So for this one, guys, just remember, find the first variable, should be pretty quick, and then plug it in to find the remaining variable. All right, question number 6. Answer the following questions about the quadratic equation x squared minus 2x minus 8. All right, well, before we do anything, I'm going to put this in my calculator because my calculator with quadratics, right, because I've got x squared, is super helpful. So we've got x squared minus 2x, and let's see here, minus 8. Oop, I did not put an x squared. All right. Let's try that again. I've got x squared minus 2x minus 8. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at my graph here. So I'm asked what is the vertex, and I'm asked what are the solutions. So I'm going to sketch my graph over here, and it looks like my vertex is like here. All right, so this is my vertex. I just drew a point for my vertex. And on the graph, let's see here, my vertex point is this point right here, which looks like I go over 1 and down maybe 9, over 1, down 9. A real easy way to check this is to understand that this is the lowest point on the graph, right? That's the lowest point. That vertex is the lowest point in this case. So if I go to my table, I thought it was about 1, 9, 1, negative 9. Yeah, look at this. That is the lowest y value, right? Because I've got negative 8 on either side. Negative 9 is the lowest y value. So that's a really easy way to kind of double check your answer. So my vertex is positive 1, negative 9, right? Because I go right 1, down 9. And my solutions are the points that are on the x-axis. So that's this point right here and this point right here. So let's see here on my graph again. What are my solutions? These ones are much easier to look at on the graph. Okay, I got one here at negative 2. And I have one over here at 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and we can check the table just to look for those zeros, because right, y should be 0. Negative 2 is 0, good, and we should also have positive 4 giving us 0, and it does. All right, easy peasy, double check that. So my solutions are x equals negative 2 and x equals positive 4. I got 2 solutions. Okay, question number 7. Which of the following represents a quadratic graph that opens upward? That means it's going to look like this, like a smiley face. All right, with 2 real roots. So I need to redraw that. It needs to have 2 real roots. It needs to be touching my x-axis twice. Well, I think that the best and most thorough way to do this is just to check each one of these graphs. So this first graph says x squared plus 4. Let's see, is it opening upward? Yes, but it does not have two real roots, so A is not my answer. Let's check B here. We've got y equals negative x squared minus 4x, and then see here, plus 4. Check my graph. Okay, this one's opening downward, so even though it has two real roots, it's opening downward. And you guys, if I have a negative in front of x squared, it's going to open downward, so I'm going to go ahead and cross this one off too. But if you don't remember that on the test, just put plugs, all of them in your calculator. So it's got to be D, but let's double check. We're going to do x squared minus 4. Let's take a quick look. Yep, I've got two real roots and it's opening upward. So this is my choice. Okay, problem 8. Use the formula negative b over 2a to write the equation for the axis of symmetry of the following equation. All right, so we've got negative b over 2a. So a is 3, b is negative 6. Not negative b, sorry. And c is negative 2. So my equation here is x equals negative b over 2a. See how I left those gaps? Those are for numbers. So b is negative 6 and a is 3. I'm just plugging them in. So if I simplify this, I've got negative 6, which is just positive 6, over 2 times 3, which is 6, which means I've got x equals 1. So this is my equation for the axis of symmetry. And again, this is one where you can use your calculator if you know what you're looking for. If we type in the equation we were given, 3x squared minus 6x minus 2, and let's look at our graph here. My axis of symmetry is right through the middle, right through the x-coordinate of the vertex. So that makes sense, right? X equals 1, and that's what I'm seeing on the graph, so I know that I did that correctly. Problem number 9. The graph of f of x equals x squared is transformed and becomes narrower. Which of the following could represent a transformed graph g of x? All right, guys, if it's narrower, if it's messing with the shape, that means a change in A, which means the number in the front. All right, so this one has a 4 at the end, not what we want. This has 3 in parentheses, that's not what we want. So it's either A or C. So notice that A has a fraction and C has the number 5. If it's going to become narrower, that's because we have a number bigger than 1. So it's got to be C. And if you want to try this in your calculator to kind of see what this is looking like, it tells us the original equation f of x equals x squared. So that's y equals x squared, right? If I do 5 f of x, that's like I'm doing 5 times x squared. And let's take a look at what happens. My original graph is this blue one. My new one is this red one. Yeah, that definitely looks narrower. If we had looked at the other ones, like if I had put a 0.5 right here, right, 1/2, that's answer choice A. I still have the original blue one, and now my red one is wider. All right, so fractions make it wider. Bigger than 1 makes it narrower. So in this case, we wanted narrower. Our answer is C. Okay, finally, write an equation that passes through the points -2, 13, and 3, -2. So it's a line. Y'all make a table for this. Makes your life a billion times easier. I've got -2, 13, and 3, -2, and I'm just going to do stat edit. All right, I'm going to do stat edit, but I'm going to choose option 4, which we haven't used in a little while, which is linreg, not quadreg, because we've got linear. All right, so quick, go to my table here, stat edit. I've got some stuff in here that needs to get cleared out. All right, so my x's are going to be -2 and 3, and my y's are going to be 13 and -2. And I'm going to go to stat again, over to calc this time, and I want option 4 because that's linear. Just click enter, and we get our equation. So we've got y equals, a is -3, so -3x, and then a +7. Remember, the r values are just your diagnostics. That's not part of your equation. Your y equals equation just uses the a and the b. So -3x plus 7. All right, again, make sure that all these problems you can do independently before you come into retests. And hopefully I will get you in here and get that grade taken care of.